Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. So, we all knew it was coming, and that is Ukraine launched the biggest aerial strike on Russian territory. Today is the 14th of January 2025. So, Ukraine launched not only drones, but missiles, Western supplied missiles, inside Russian territory. Struck oil fields, airfields, chemical plants, anything they wanted. The Russians confirm they were attacked with Western missiles, Storm Shadows and others. And what do? They talk about peacekeeping. They talk about Russia ready to discuss security guarantees for Ukraine. By the way, Macron and the other sold-out guy from Germany, Pistorius, I think is his name. He is the current German defense minister. Pistorius, he's all working for outside interest, not for Germany's interest. By his actions and statements, he's in Germany, he's in Ukraine right now, together with Macron, the president of France. And they want, at least Macron, looks at viable troops deployment into Ukraine. Then we have in Great Britain some former ministers who talk about, yes, we should send troops to Ukraine, foreign troops. So the biggest attack, aerial attack by the Ukrainians on Russian territory, what did the Russians do? What did the Russians say about being attacked like that? What will they do? Oreshnik, nuclear weapons, anything? And then this guy said, we're going to send troops over there. And Russians say, according to Lavrov, well, we should discuss some, again, security guarantees for Ukraine. What security guarantees? You will provide the security guarantees for Ukraine. All right, let's go to the first article. I have about 7 articles regarding to what targets these guys hit. Yes, it was the biggest, right here. Agence France Presse. 14th of January 2025. Ukraine claims biggest aerial strike on Russian territory. They're not shy about it. Ukraine carried out its largest aerial attack on Russian territory of the nearly 3 years of war overnight, Kiev said Tuesday, hitting factories and energy hubs hundreds of miles from the front line. The Russian military accused Kiev of using US and British supplied missiles for one of the strikes and promised it would not go unanswered. All right, you had your say. The barrage forced schools in the southwest Saratov region to close, while at least 9 airports in central and western Russia temporarily halted traffic, according to Russian officials. The Ukrainian Defense Forces carried out the most massive strike against the occupiers' military facilities at a distance of 200 to 1,100 kilometers, which is 125 to 700 miles, deep into the territory of the Russian Federation. Facilities in Bryansk, Saratov, Tula regions and the Republic of Tatarstan were hit. Among the targets were a chemical factory that makes rocket fuel and ammunition for Russian army, an oil depot near a Russian air base, and an oil refinery. The governor of Russia's Saratov region, Roman Busargin, said the scale of the attack there was massive. Schools in the cities of Saratov and Engels 2 air base, were holding classes online on Tuesday because of the attacks, he added. All right, let's see what's going on. In the energy-rich region Tatarstan, a Ukrainian drone struck a gas storage tank, sending flames and thick smoke billowing towards the sky near the city of Kazan. So all this means these things could not be just done by the Ukrainians using Google Maps. They used some satellite somewhere. They used it. Maybe I'm just a baboon and think that the Ukrainians are just some backward, and actually they're the best. I think this was done by other peoples. Right, let's read further. Ukraine launches big strikes on Russian cities. You got it right there. The short Telegram channel said the Russians had down more than 200 Ukrainian drones and 5 US-made ATACMS ballistic missiles. Got that? Next. Explosive night. Drones hit chemical plants, refineries, and airfield depots in Russia. A number of targets were struck in various regions in Russia, all right, on the night of 13th to 14th of January. And it says, at the Bryansk Chemical Plant, direct missile strike targeted the facility. Bryansk, where is Bryansk? Right here. This is Bryansk, in Russia, right there, in Russia. They struck that, right? Right. Next. Ukraine fired US and British missiles at Russia, Moscow says. They already confirmed that one. Ukraine fired ATACMS and Storm Shadow at Russia. Russia shot down US and British missiles. Ukraine struck Russia with 146 drones, Russia says. They said 200 on the other one. Russia vows a response to the attacks. Ukraine sources, munition storage facilities struck. Moscow said on Tuesday that Ukraine had fired 6 US-made ATACMS ballistic missiles, 6 UK-made Storm Shadow cruise missiles, and at least 146 drones into Russia in an attack that it said would not go unanswered. There you go. What did they say we're going to do? I don't know, my friends. They said they're going to attack the perpetrators, the guys who facilitated that. Who are those guys? The Ukrainians. Drones attacked several Russian regions overnight. According to Ukraine Forum, this was reported by BBC Russian service. So, Saratov and Engels, that is, I'm going to show you, it's far east on the Volga River, where the, Engels 2 Air Base is located. That's where it is, with Engels in Saratov. But hey, what can you do? Well, we're just going to, right there, Volga River from Engels. Also, in Engels, due to the drone strike, school classes were cancelled. Here are some videos. I'm not going to play because we are on YouTube. The authorities of Tatarstan. This is by Kazan. Where is Kazan? Kazan is east of Moscow, somewhere that way. So this is Moscow. This is the border with Ukraine. This is Bryansk, Moscow. That's Kazan, or somewhere in that area, a little bit further. All right, what else? So, Kazan, Papara, Katsakapaka. Next one. Russia Today. Let's see what the Russians report. Russian military downs 14 Western-made missiles. Kiev used ATACMS and Storm Shadow missiles to attack Bryansk region, the defense ministry in Moscow has said. And this is, let's see, Russian anti-aircraft defenses have repelled a large-scale Ukrainian attack on Bryansk region, downing a dozen Western-supplied missiles and over 30 drones, and the defense ministry in Moscow said on Tuesday. The ministry reported the details of the overnight attack in its daily briefing, stating that Ukrainian forces used 6 US-made ATACMS ballistic missiles and 6 Franco-British Storm Shadow cruise missiles. Some 31 fixed-wing kamikaze drones were also used in the attack. All the projectiles were intercepted by anti-aircraft defenses, they say. Got it? Got it. During the attack, some 42 private homes were damaged. By the debris. Okay, these guys talk about the debris. Moscow has repeatedly warned that the attacks made by the US-led NATO military blocked a direct part of the conflict. That's why we're going to make them. Pointing out that Kiev would not be able to use such sophisticated systems without the involvement of Western specialists. What are they going to do about it? Nothing. Ukraine confirms strike on Bryansk Chemical Plant, crucial to Russia's military production. So they say, yes, we did it. What are you going to do about it? So they say, yeah, we attacked Bryansk. This is in Russia, by the way. Okay, we attack. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. And it says, the Bryansk Chemical Plant, which produces gunpowder, explosives, and components for rocket fuel, including ammunition for artillery, was targeted in the strike, they say. All right. What do you want, my friends? These guys are just using Western missiles in order to strike the Russians, and the Russians will react. Ukraine Forum. Ukrainian drones repeatedly hit Engels 2 oil depot in Russia. Again, they did it a few days ago. Last night, the operators of the 14th Separate Regiment of Unmanned Aerial Systems of the Unmanned System Forces, in cooperation with other units of the Defense Forces, repeatedly hit the infrastructure of Engels 2 military airfield, where 2 95MS and 2 160 aircraft belonged to the 22nd Heavy Bomber Division were based. I told you where that is. I showed you many times. It is further east than here. All right, further east than that. All right, let's see what else we have. Russia Today. Former UK defense ministers want troops sent to Ukraine. Russia has said it's premature to discuss the peacekeeping mission because Kiev refuses to hold talks with Moscow. British forces should be sent to Ukraine as a peacekeepers if the conflict reaches a diplomatic solution, two former UK Defense Secretary told the Telegram on Sunday. I'm quoting, British troops contributing to a post-war peacekeeping force would undoubtedly be a welcome move. No, you are part of the conflict. You are some of the biggest parties in this war. So no, you should stay back the fuck off. Next one. Zelensky and Macron discuss practical steps for deployment of foreign forces in Ukraine. Here they are. 4-9 and 5-2. Ukraine's president has said that he had a telephone conversation with his French counterpart, Macron, on Monday the 13th. Zelensky said he had discussed the situation on the battlefield with Macron, particularly the progress of Ukraine forces in the Kursk operation. Okay. As one of such guarantees, we discussed the French initiative to deploy military contingents in Ukraine. We addressed practical steps for its implementation, potential expansion, and the involvement of other nations in this effort. He's not saying here anything about peacekeepers. No, to deploy military contingents in Ukraine. All right, in December, Zelensky acknowledged that the idea of the deploying a peacekeeping mission to Ukraine as a deterrent against another Russian attack has been discussed during meetings in Brussels. My friends, right here, it also been recently reported that UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer will visit Ukraine in the coming weeks to discuss the possibility of deploying an international peacekeeping force after the war with Ukraine is over. Zelensky-Macron discussed Western troops deployment in Ukraine before German defense chief's visit. This guy comes here and he bows his head towards the Stein, and that's it. All right, so this is for now, and I'm going to go to what the Russians say. This is what the Russians should do. There's not going to be any American, German, French, British, Polish, Czech, Austrian, Baltic states peacekeeping mission, including the Nordic states, okay? Finland, Sweden, and Norway, Finland, and Sweden. Out. I'm going to put Denmark in that. Or the Dutch. All these guys are out. Or Italian forces. Or Spanish. Non-Europeans. Could be the Hungarians. Could be the Slovaks. Could be the Chinese. Could be the Indians. Not Romanians. All right? Because these are jackals over there. Just like Trojan horses. This is going to be the peacekeeping force, not the guys that fought against Russia. There were 34 countries, and Ramstein agreed to supply Ukraine and fight against the Russians. Supply them with military, whatever, anything it takes. So 34 countries, mainly from Europe, should not even have a look at Ukraine's territory. That's how I would be, and I don't think the Russians are baboons either. So let's look at the last article. And here is Russia Today. Russia's ready to discuss security guarantees for Ukraine. After these guys claim the sending troops over there, and after these guys is, how do you call it? Biggest aerial strike on Russian territories with what? With ATACMS and with what? Storm Shadow and Scalp missiles? Okay, let's see what Lavrov has in mind. Moscow is willing to address the issue within a broader Eurasian framework. To foreign ministers, he said, but this is a very nice word I think he uses here. He refers to Ukraine as, you'll see. Moscow is ready to discuss security guarantees for Ukraine. Speaking at the press conference on Tuesday, Lavrov emphasized, however, that any talks must take place within a broader Euro and Asian framework in order to address larger geopolitical issues. And here it is. We are ready to discuss security guarantees for the country that is now called Ukraine. You got that? And parts of the country which have not yet determined their status. That means more to come. Unlike Crimea, Donbass, and Novorossiya, the union of the Donbass republics, Lavrov stated. So that means we're going to discuss about other regions in the country that's called, for now, Ukraine, to become part of something else. And then when we discuss who's who and what's what, do you think Ukraine will be a country in the future? Maybe a fake country. Not that it is a real country anyway. Why do I say that? Once you're owned, like Romania and Poland, by foreign countries, you're not a real country. Moscow considers the Crimean Peninsula as well as Kherson and Zaporozhye regions and the Donetsk and Lugansk People's Republic as integral parts of its territory. So Zaporozhye comes next, my friends, and Kherson. Where are those located? Zaporozhye is right here, right? And Kherson is right here. So all this seems to come to Russia, as far as these guys say, including the Crimean Peninsula. I don't know what's going to happen to Odessa, but we're going to find out. Here, the Eurasian context will be predominant in those negotiations because the western part of the continent cannot separate itself from such giants as Russia, China, India, and the Persian Gulf, and the whole Southeast Asia with hundreds of millions of people, including Bangladesh and Pakistan. So he wants all these guys be part of the peacekeeping forces, I'm getting. We have to shape the continent in order to make sure that affairs in the central part of the continent, in Central Asia and the Caucasus, in the Far East and the Strait of Taiwan, in the South China Sea, are resolved by the countries of the region. Hey, what about the United States of America? What are you doing? Every country has the right to ensure its security and choose the means it deems appropriate, Putin stated. However, he stressed that achieving the security of one nation must not create threats for others. It was thrown into the trash by the Ukrainian regime, he noted. What exactly? The document what? Putin expressed hope that this principle would be considered in discussions about Ukraine's security. The Russian leader highlighted a draft agreement from the Istanbul talks, which detailed security guarantees for Ukraine. Putin said the document was broadly acceptable to Russia, but accused Ukraine of discarding it. So, it's not going to be the Western countries. No, why? You try to me and you think we're going to have any part in this? No. We're not going to happen. We have India, China, Pakistan, Iran, and other bad dudes. Maybe North Koreans, who knows? The countries in the region, like the United States of America, has troops in Romania, in Poland, in the Baltic states. So what are we doing about that? Nothing. Well, that's threatening to me. I don't care. Okay, then. I do this. What are you going to do? Oh my God, self-defense. So, biggest aerial attack. What are the Russians going to do? I suspect the Russians will use some Oreshnik if they have, or they will start a massive missile attack overnight, and these guys will start crying that the Russians attacked schools, hospitals, nurseries, and things like this. They are ready to deploy troops over there. Who? The Brits? The Americans? The French? Come on, stay home, you lost. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.